What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the College Football After Dark. I don't know about you, but we have missed you. I don't know if you missed us, but here we are anyways. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. We've just lost Mike. He just glitched out. He just glitched out.
No.
I told you, Mike.
There we go.
My camera has just gone nuts for the last week or so.
And that's how you start a show.
There we go. At least we got it on camera. That's all that matters. But all I can say is, hey, college football is back. Technically not yet, but it's coming up very quickly. I mean, it was gone for so long. It was should have been a dull off season, but there was so much chaos going on. It was hard to take it all in sometimes. But you know what? Now we get back to the actual games on the field. That's what matters. That's what matters.
100%.
So we got a lot of our usual suspects in here. We've got our Clemson man, Jordan. How are you doing, Jordan?
Glad to be back, man. It's been what, 7 months since the last time we were on here. So it's a lot has happened, and I'm sure we're going to get into all of it because, it's college football changed a lot, even in the since our last show. So.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Ben? Michigan Ben, the lesser Ben. I've got to keep reminding you of that.
Wait, I'm not the lesser Ben until Oregon actually does something. That's what the deal was last year.
That okay. I'll give you that. I'll give you that little shot there. I'll give you that shot. We did win a bowl game, though.
Okay, you got a bowl game. What was it, like the Haynes Sox Bowl or something? No, I'm just kidding.
It was at a baseball field, so it was kind of hard to watch.
Yeah, no, not. I'm super excited about football, and I hate this time of year because it seems like time slows down. Like it slows down closer you get there. It seems like this last week is just going by. Like I'm counting the seconds, So I'm hyped up. Can't wait. Can't wait to see how the season goes. I'm a little. Oh, and I do have to tell you, I believe before we get into the whole football stuff, a little bit about the realignment stuff, I have to give it to you, Ben, on the Big Ten taking Oregon. You said they'd do it. We didn't think so. So
yeah, we got it. I mean, we have to dive into it. It's just got to happen.
I know we're going to dive into it, but
it's too big of a story to not touch upon, even if I really don't want to talk about that anymore. But you just can't not do it. Will, how are you doing? Because I know you have to be the most excited because you actually are playing this week. So you get to see your team first.
Can't wait to see our team with the actual top 15 quarterback in college football, undoubtedly. I mean, I think he's better than that. But, yeah, I'm just really excited to see Sam Hartman in this offense. Ready to see the Notre Dame have a great passing offense this season. Ready to see Tobias Merriweather and Chris Tyree catch some touchdowns this week, and Jaden Thomas do some nice chunk yards in the air. So, yeah, really
now, Will, if you guys go and lose up in Ireland, the jokes are going to write themselves. I'm not.
Yeah.
We know how that Navy game went last year. I'm not.
It'll be Stanford and Marshall all over again.
Yeah, well.
I mean, I always get kind of nervous about the Navy game if it's like a sandwich game because preparing for the option and also preparing for another big game. So it always makes me a little nervous, but having them first. The last time we had them first was in 2012, and we beat them pretty easily and had a great season. So I'm hoping they'll play itself out again. Navy's playing 2 quarterbacks in, so they're going to switch out every drive. They're going to be switching back and forth the quarterback. So
that's the next thing we got to get into is the games coming up.
More confident that we would be able to win this game easily.
So then finally rounding out, at least for the moment, we have the glitch man himself, Mike Ford, because he keeps coming and going as he pleases over there.
Well, to my knowledge, my mic has never been an issue, but my camera, like I said, I need to look into something with my camera. It's not wanting to go right, but you're so stuck with my voice and my awesome Michigan voice of college football shirt.
You're like a ghost. You kind of come in and out, and you're kind of almost ethereal. It's like you're almost not real.
Well, In a couple months, it'll be Halloween.
Yeah.
By then, you might want to disappear. Who knows?
Yeah, our tough games don't start till right around Halloween.
So, speaking of that, since we're all here, again, I really don't want to talk about it. Jordan, you had to be in the kind of the brunt force of this too with the ACC, though. As the realignment, is it over yet, or do you think there's more? Because we still have some teams left stranded out there, and some teams still apparently trying to escape from where they are. What do you think? Because yeah, it's been a lot to handle.
Yeah, it has. I'll say this: I don't think it's over. I think for now, at least this year, and kind of, heading into 2023 and probably 2024, I don't think you'll see any more big moves. But this round of realignment ain't over. I think you're going to see it in a under year, or maybe 2024. I think you'll see some big moves come in the ACC. And as we lose Mike again, that's great. That's wonderful. But yeah, it's kind of been a hectic thing. Like, I haven't heard much from the Clemson side. I do know that they've been working to kind of find their way out of the grant of rights deal, and obviously them and Florida State are kind of the two that have been the most vocal. But Florida State had that athletic director, that board of trustees meeting a couple weeks ago, where they just basically they were doing a bunch of hooting and hollering about nothing, just saying we're gonna leave.
Grant of rights.
Yeah, I mean that was a spectacle for sure. But I do know that internally Clemson kind of has the same sentiment. So it's going to be interesting. I mean they appear to be confident. At least they're putting up the facade of confidence. At least Florida State is about this whole grant of rights thing. It's like this won't be a problem for us. So, but at the end of the day, we'll have to see, because this is the most unique circumstances of any of the realignment moves that we've seen, because of how long and how extenuous the grant of rights deal that they're locked into is. So, yeah.
Still 2036 still, right?
Yeah, 2036.
Yeah, it's a long damn time. I mean,
Now, speaking of the ACC, now I've heard rumors about Oregon State and Washington State to the ACC, or was it Cal and Stanford? I'm sorry.
I heard that got turned down. NC State voted no. I heard in Karstad deal.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a thing. I do think that's pretty much over. At least from what I've been able to gather. There's not really much legs to it. They didn't get the votes on it, so they didn't hold a meeting or anything like that. Clemson, Florida State, and NC State. Well, NC State was rumored. I know North Carolina also voted no.
Yeah, cause you had to have like 11 or 12 of the total amount, 11 or 12. But NC State apparently was the last one to say no and like crush that plan. Allegedly, we don't know for sure. But real quick before Mike continues on, because I want to continue. Gentlemen, welcome in below here on the bottom. This is Spaz/Sean. We have two Seans, but he's the new co-host of the Oregon post-game show as well as the Oregon live show. So it's always good to see, and he's watched a lot of college football, so it's always a good reminder. Plus, he's an Oregon fan, so he's in the mix of this whole realignment. But so, hi, Spaz.
I just kind of find it funny that you had to bring in some support.
Hey, I cannot be outnumbered all the time. It's getting ridiculous over here with you Michigan people.
Man,
Mike,
the Big Ten bias is going crazy right now. I feel like I'm just being sandwiched in the middle. I'm gonna have to defend the little old ACC.
Well, what are these Big Ten criers gonna do when Oregon comes in and just smokes the entire Big Ten?
You calm down over there.
We'll wake up and realize that didn't happen.
Yeah, I was like, we'll cool it with that one. I'm one of those, like, I think we'll be okay, but I'm not going to go ridiculous. But Mike, what do you think? Because of course you're being affected. The Big Ten is obviously, you're bringing in not 2 but now 4. potentially 6, really, because Stanford and Cal are still floating out there as just these entities.
Well, like I say, I was kind of against this expansion, but I was also against whenever they were bringing in Nebraska and Maryland and Rutgers as well. The only thing
because
good
they
about
turned out great for the conference.
yeah, and especially Nebraska, all that hype didn't live up. I mean, the only really good thing I can see about it is that it opens up, a Southern Cal market for us, and especially with recruiting. Because California is a hotbed for recruiting, as everybody knows. I'm sure you Oregon guys get plenty of your guys from California. So, for us to get a little bit of a, high school recruitment market share into that, that's the one bonus I'm taking away from it.
Will, you have no say in this because you don't even have a conference, so you don't even have.
All right, I'm going to try, man.
If only the ACC said those words, that would have been.
The ACC has actually helped. People made fun of the whole ACC thing for Notre Dame, and I understand where they're coming from, but it actually has helped Notre Dame's recruiting on the East Coast. We've been getting guys from, even though Maryland isn't even in the conference anymore, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, down Florida. So, so that definitely does make a difference for these teams.
Oh, it benefits Notre Dame. No one denies that. I think it's the other side of the transaction where it's like, what is the ACC getting? Not very much. I mean, in other sports, that's great. Notre Dame's been a great addition, but from a football perspective, it's like, okay, we get to play Notre Dame, but they don't wear our patch or our logo. They don't recruit to our conference or anything like that. I mean, we get a few nationally televised games, per year from them, and that's about it.
But it's money.
And we have to give them money for it. Yeah,
definitely helps the ACC's TV rating.
I don't have I don't even think I have to ask Spaz, but I'll let him say it what he thinks because we're in it together. It's he and I are both stuck. We just got to accept it and live with it. I mean,
I just think there wasn't much more you could do once once the team started talking and once you lost USC and UCLA, I think that was kind of the beginning of the end, and you had to do something. What are you going to do? Go to the Mountain West? Big 12? No thanks. Lose more money? Nah, I'm good. I'd rather go somewhere competitive, and there was no better place than the Big Ten, really, because you've got so many competitive level teams, not just in football, but in basketball. I think it helps your whole overall recruitment. And those poor bastards in Southern California are crying with some big cheese because now they don't have control of the West Coast anymore because we just came in and took all their cheese, and now they're really crying. I mean, if you listen to Tony and Rick last night, they were crying the blues.
I do love that story. If people in the chat or even here on the panel don't know about that, the alleged story came out that when USC and UCLA joined, USC said you cannot add any more Pac-12 schools, especially talking about basically apparently us. So when the Big Ten did it, apparently the USC people were going, hey, we had a friendly handshake. What happened? Because we recruit Southern Cal. So they were not pleased with that. Allegedly.
Yeah, it did surprise me.
I was waiting for Tim or Tony or somebody or LBC to pop up in the chat after those comments.
I didn't say it. I did. He said it, not me. He said it.
I'm just waiting. I just switch over. It's like, I don't even have my chat up. I got to see if they come in.
I mean, it only made sense at the end of the day too, because that gives USC and UCLA the West Coast at least partnership for travel purposes for other sports too. And you get also the Big Ten now adds a late night game, so you still keep the quote unquote Pac-12 after dark, just Big Ten after dark, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't
If
think
you
you're
want.
going to have as many of those after this year. I don't think you're going to have as many of those late night games, and I think that was a big issue with the Pac-12 was those late night fiascos. I mean, who in God's earth is going to stay up till 3 in the morning on the East Coast and watch USC and Colorado or Oregon and Cal? Nobody, and that's what killed. That's what killed us.
Yeah, but now with bigger brands too, you could have Ohio State, Michigan earlier on, and then you have Oregon, USC late night. Like to round out the day of the Big Ten schedule. I mean, so you're still gonna pull a lot more, I think, eyeballs than you did in the Pac-10, Pac-12 naturally.
Yeah, I just don't think you'll have any games after 5 o'clock our time now. I don't think you'll have a 7 or an 8 o'clock game. I just don't see it.
It's possible. We haven't seen the new schedule. They're still having to rework all that whole.
Yeah, that's
thing
going to
that
be a mess because they got to do all that in just a matter of a couple of months.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have those late night games. Definitely, I agree. I just don't see the Big Ten allowing that.
Yeah, I think the insomnia game should always be Hawaii.
That is the insomnia show. That or they play really early, and even then it's still really late. Even if they play at 11 a.m., I mean, it's still like 9 p.m. my time.
Yeah, because I remember the old days when I would if I wanted to stay up to like 4 o'clock in the morning, Hawaii would have like an afternoon game from them. It'd come on like midnight for me.
I'm a kind of a Hawaii fan. I'm a kind of a Hawaii fan. I like watching them. They're the most traveled team in like college football, so it's kind of cool.
Well, yeah, the nearest school to them is like 5,000 miles.
Yeah, they still will be. They're not losing that title.
Yeah, for sure. They're like the ultimate underdog for me. I kind of like them.
Well,
You know how much it sucked when I lived in Hawaii trying to watch college football? Kick game day was like midnight. You couldn't. It was impossible. You were drunk and passed out by like the first game of the third quarter, like second quarter.
I was just about to say. I mean, you got an excuse to be hungover in the morning, I guess.
There you go.
Oh God. Well, Will wouldn't mind Stanford doing the ACC, but I don't think it's going to happen because I would at least keep that rivalry with you going until you join the Big Ten, and then screw Stanford over.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like before last season, I kind of wanted to get rid of the Stanford game, but now I kind of feel like we have to play them and beat them down some more.
Oh, I thought you would want to get rid of it after last season.
Yeah.
They like to dodge their biggest rivals.
All right.
Well, they have a history of that.
So how good is Will? How good is Notre Dame going to be this year? Do you think?
I mean, I feel like anything worse than 10-2 is very, very disappointing. I feel like we finally have a quarterback because that's always been the missing piece to our teams. Like Ian Book wasn't a bad quarterback, but he wasn't good enough to put Notre Dame over the top and be able to compete with like 2018 Clemson, 2020 Alabama. So I feel like this is the year. If we're ever going to beat Ohio State, this has to be the year. Like,
yeah, I'll give you that one.
You're playing them at home though. That's
yeah.
Yeah. Because Notre Dame Stadium, like, it's not always loud. I'll just say that. But if a big team comes to town, the place is rocking. Like, I was at the Clemson game last year, and everyone was standing and like yelling the whole time. And that's what Ohio State's going to have to.
It was pretty nuts when Georgia played there.
Yeah, it gets pretty
everyone was mad about 2016 and that awful season. So that's why people were mad and sold their tickets to Georgia fans. that was why. Georgia had a lot of people.
Well,
somebody's on here asking, Will, how come you're standing in the corner? Are you in trouble or something?
I just don't want people to see my messy room. But yeah, I mean, this is my setup for recording stuff.
That's Uncle Lou. He's just he's just giving you a hard time over there, Will.
Yeah.
All he's doing as usual.
That's the tamest Uncle Lou comment.
It's true. It's true.
Shout out to Uncle Lou.
Yeah, like I just really want to show these Ohio State fans, man. I mean, they're arrogant for a reason. Like we've never beaten Ohio State, like in my parents' lifetime, even. So I just really want to win this one.
Like in the 30s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
And we haven't played them. I mean, I'm sure like if we would have played them in like prime Lou era, can I turn around and face the wall? Okay.
Oh god.
Stop being me to the Notre Dame guy.
All right.
Oh man, that was great.
Well, I mean, since we're talking Notre Dame and stuff, I mean, we've got some games coming up this week. Yes, it's week 0. Relax, everyone. But you know what? Again, it's brand new football. It's not highlights. It's not reliving the pain and misery of the last season, and so it's not much, but it is something. And I know Will is very, very excited for Notre Dame in Dublin. I know that.
Oh yeah.
As we all are. I mean, who isn't?
Yeah.
That's gonna be great. Yeah.
It's prime time television.
Yeah, I'm just excited. I just really want to see this offense with Sam Hartman, and I want to see what Jared Parker's schemes are going to be. I want to see if they're like more similar to Tommy Rees, or he's fully going his own way. So, I mean, I do have some concerns about his offense, just because like he really only ran Neil Brown's offense at West Virginia, so like he could be like completely over his head and try to be smart, kind of like Bill O'Brien, or he just run, make plays to put the players in best positions for them to win, and that's what I'm hoping he does this season for the Irish offense. Because there's a lot of talent on this team compared to past Notre Dame teams, especially at the skill positions. So I definitely think we should be able to score at least 30 points a game. That should be the goal for this offense.
So you're going to outdo Iowa? Is that what you're trying to say? That's a different topic. That's a different topic.
I do think
what I think is awesome about that game for Notre Dame, and as a Notre Dame, I mean that you got to think that everyone in that stadium is going to be rooting for Notre Dame.
Oh yeah. Like people in Ireland watch football, and most of them root for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is Estime going to be that guy?
Well, I also think Jadarian Price he's going to be sort of like the Donovan Edwards. I mean, not as good as Donovan, of course, in his first year. But I think he'll also be like the lightning of the offense, and it's going to get a lot of big, like 80-yard touchdown runs during the season, especially against like the Navy. No offense to the Navy guys, I have a lot of respect for them and all.
Well, and again, we don't. Do you know for sure? I honestly haven't kept up with Navy. They were so bad last year. Of course, they fired their coach.
Yeah.
Are they still going to be a triple option, or are they going to be more?
I mean, he was an assistant coach, Ken. So I'm assuming they're going to run the triple option, but they're going to be running 2 quarterbacks.
Like they've got to be triple option
every series. So I don't think their offense is going to be as potent as
Notre Dame hasn't had a passing, or not Notre Dame. Navy hasn't had a passing quarterback since Roger Staubach.
Sounds about right. And all the service academies, whether they change coaches or not, they all still stick to the triple option.
Well, I mean, Jeff Monken is trying to kind of slowly move away from it a little bit. He wants to at least be able to throw it a little. Like, can I not run the ball every single play? That's kind of what he's lobbying right now.
And that's kind of what Army's done too. Army's gotten into more of a, like, instead of like 90 run, 10 pass, they've got it like 25% throwing.
Yeah,
a little more.
He wants to be able. He knows that with the defenses now and kind of how the rules are with cut blocking and all of that. They made a bunch of rules this offseason. It's going to be tough to run those types of offenses consistently without getting a bunch of penalties and all that. So he's kind of just like, hey, can I throw a forward pass like every once in a while? That would be great. So
well, it's kind of bad because the service academies run the triple option because that favors the undersized linemen and the teams without all the top skill positions. So, I mean, that's why they run it. It doesn't matter who the coach is. They just run it by necessity because they don't really have the athletes especially at the lineman position, old lineman position, to really do anything near a pro style
That makes
offense.
sense.
It
Totally
used to
makes
be
sense.
that they weren't allowed to have somebody over like 235 pounds on the team. Wasn't that the weight limit?
I don't remember the weight limit, but they were all undersized for sure.
Yeah, they
They
might
didn't
have had
have a weight limit
exceptions.
because they're a service academy.
Yeah, they might have had exceptions for athletes in that position.
I
But
think
that's,
they do
that's
now,
it.
but they used to, like, you know, and it's still kind of a thing that they're not, you know, completely. I think it's recent change at least.
I did it again.
Well, Will, I think Notre Dame's going to win this game. I don't think you're going to sweat it after like the second quarter at all. But I always root for the service academies. Unless
Of
they're
course.
playing
I mean, I root for them and
or Army, Navy.
because I have a lot of respect for those guys. Yeah, hopefully that Navy does better this year. But I don't.
I think if Notre Dame scores more than 13 points this year, they might win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping for 42. That's my hope, and I'm hoping that Navy isn't able to successfully run a trick play. Hopefully that they can snuff it out, and I'm hoping maybe we can see Kenny Minchie come in at the backup quarterback who we just got as a freshman. So hopefully he can get some reps, but at least in the Tennessee State game, I bet he will. But maybe in this game too.
That's right. You guys do.
Yeah,
play
I don't think what's his name from Wake Forest will play more than a half.
Yeah, that's the
He
hope.
shouldn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hear Tyler
Well-
Buckner's really tearing it up in Alabama for fall camp. Watch, he's gonna like win the Heisman this year now.
He won't even start.
Oh no, he's
Yeah,
not. He's
I
not.
know,
He's not
I
even-
It's
know.
not
I'm
going to
just
be
messing.
him. It's going to be Drew Pine for Arizona State.
Oh God, here we
Oh
go.
my God, really?
I heard he might win the starting job.
That's crazy. Drew Prine can't
Over
throw it
Sam
more
Hartman?
than can't throw it more than 10 yards.
Oh no, that's Sam Hartman's.
That's incredible.
Yeah, never mind. Alabama.
Well, we
Yeah,
got
Drew Prine's at Arizona
we've got to
State.
look. We have a look coming up about the Heisman preseason Heisman race. Or
All right, Drew. I can
Whatever
say
you wanna
something to
talk
Drew
about.
McFly.
Oh, suspect.
But-
Damn.
Have
Suspect.
you seen Ben
I would
Morrison's
disagree
film?
there.
Have you seen Ben Morrison's film, my friend? Have you seen Cam Hart's film? Have you seen Xavier Watts' film?
Yeah, no. If there's anything on Notre Dame's defense that isn't suspect, it's their corners.
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah, that's wild.
Pass rush is fair to say it's suspect. They have to show it. They'll be better this year, but it will be. But that's a fair point. But
Notre Dame has
no receiver is wrong. And
Do we have a Clemson guy on here?
No.
It's Jordan.
No, we don't.
That's Jordan.
Yeah, I was
we
gonna say
do.
Jordan
We do.
is the Clemson guy.
He's the Clemson
I
man.
thought so. I'm
Cam
curious.
Hart was Cam
I'm
Hart was
curious
okay.
where
Drew
Clemson
Cam Hart was hurt at corner and they didn't throw it to Ben. That's why they looked bad because Cam Hart was hurt and they weren't throwing to Ben.
I do want to ask you, Jordan. What do you think about the about Clemson and being ranked 9 in the AP poll and coaches poll?
I mean, I think the ranking's fair. I think it's more interesting that Florida State was ranked ahead of Clemson. I do get the perception and all of that, how Florida State finished the year, and they went on that little win streak, but at the end of the day, Clemson won the conference last year. They went 8-0 in the ACC, didn't lose a single game, and but the perception is that Florida State is the favorite. I guess they're the common fans league pick to win the ACC. I think that the media vote came out and Clemson was the favorite, but but as far as the ranking goes, I think it's fair. I mean, Clemson they still have an extremely talented roster. They recruited really well. The change at coordinator was something that was extremely necessary and something that I think we'll see pay dividends. The early returns out of from the spring and fall have been overwhelmingly positive. So, but at the end of the day, you got to see it. Cade Klubnik, it's his job now. He's taken all of the first team reps. He knows it's his job. The team is behind him. But at the end of the day, we actually have to see it on the field. Hopefully, the scheme change allows some of these Clemson's offensive talent to actually shine through, because I feel like The perception is that Clemson doesn't have anybody on offense other than Will Shipley, but that's far from the case. So, but I think you'll see. I think you'll see a much improved Clemson offense this year.
I think they could have went into like around the 6 or 7 area if they didn't have such an ugly showing in the orange. That did not help any.
Well, and I think the perception was already kind of soured because of the loss to South Carolina at home was not good. But I do think that the change at coordinator afterwards, I do think was something that was, that should be, given a lot of weight. I do think a lot of Clemson's issues the past couple of years were scheme related, because they've been running essentially a revitalized, reshaped, revised version of what Chad Morris was running back when he first came to Clemson in 2011. So when you've been running the same scheme for over a decade, eventually people are going to catch on. And when you don't have a Deshaun Watson or a Trevor Lawrence to kind of mask some of those scheme deficiencies, the warts start to show. And so I think the change in scheme has been a really, really good thing for the program. And I think the players are really enjoying it. And I think it's going to give them the opportunity just to go out and play and not think so much.
So what's your take on DJ?
Well, as far as what his time at Clemson or what he's going to do at Oregon State?
Both.
Yeah, that's complicated. And, I mean, Clemson fans had a very complicated relationship with DJ the past couple of years. But no, I think DJ is an extremely talented quarter. I mean, the arm talent is unquestionable. I mean, the guy can throw it like a half mile. But, I do think that he struggled when things weren't going well. They really weren't going well. And I think a lot of it was a mental thing. He just, when he got down on himself and he lost confidence, you really, really saw it. I don't think the scheme was perfectly suited to his skill sets either. But, I do think that the talent is there. And if he is in a situation where he can just play and kind of not, allow the pressure to kind of weigh on him, I think he can play really well, because he did have some really nice moments as Clemson's starting quarterback. And but if at Oregon State, I think he seems to be on track to start, and the returns from fall camp have been really, really good. So I mean, I'm excited to see it. I'm rooting for him because he's a great kid. He's a great kid.
Do you think it was a lot of the local media and students and things like that really got to be too much pressure for him down there?
No, I don't think the media, because honestly, I think the Clemson media was really positive about DJ, or not super critical of him specifically, even when things weren't going well. I do think there were things in his personal life that definitely hurt him, especially in 2021. He wasn't healthy in 2021 either. But he made those improvements, from 2021 to 2022, and I think you kind of saw the confidence start to come back. But when he kind of unraveled in that Syracuse game, and he wasn't the same. So I do think it just wasn't a great fit. I don't necessarily think it was a pressure thing. At least external pressure. I think he put a lot of pressure on himself, and when he didn't perform, it just kind of exacerbated all the issues he was already having. So, but I do think that he's closer to home in Oregon now, and I do think he's in a system, and he has a great quarterbacks coach. Jonathan Smith is obviously well respected in the industry. He's done really well up there, and I think he's in a good spot. So, but at the end of the day, we'll see how it goes.
Right on. Thanks. Appreciate that.
So, have we talked about UMass at New Mexico State game yet?
The fighting Don.
I don't know why
that one.
I was waiting on it, but y'all kept asking me about Clemson questions. I don't.
Okay.
I
was like, yeah, that's like the best game of the weekend. What are you talking about, people? Come on, pay
Oh, yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
Now, I think we all admit the only other game outside of maybe versus Notre Dame, of course, because it's Ireland too. The only other one I think anyone's really looking at specifically, no, sorry Hawaii fans and Vanderbilt fans, is San Jose State at USC.
But nobody's going to be watching it.
I will be. I have Pac-12 Network.
I'm hoping someone will stream it on YouTube and I can just watch it on YouTube.
Yes.
You'll be able to find
shot.
But the one
It'll
thing
be over by half.
The one thing I'll be looking at in this game is if USC's defense is assignment correct. That's the one thing I'm going to be keeping my eye on.
Yeah. I don't think San Jose State's going to be a proper litmus test for the defense, though.
Yeah, San Jose State's not going to be a good representation of what they're going to have to potentially deal with later on in the season. So it might be a good warm-up game, though.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I mean, if their backs are halfway decent, they should be covering a lot of mistakes.
Is College Game Day going to be at one of these places? Are they going to Ireland or something?
I think they're usually in studio for week 0.
yeah, so let's say it was like outside of Ireland, I don't think they would even go anywhere. So I'm pretty sure it's just studio.
Yeah, I forget where they're. I know they already announced where they're at for week 1, but I forget where it's at.
Probably Salt Lake City would be my guess.
No.
I mean, can you think of a better week 1 game?
Oh,
I can think
Utah,
of a lot of,
Florida?
I can think of a lot of
Yeah.
better week 1 games.
That's
Clemson versus the Citadel. That doesn't count, Jordan.
Yeah, nobody counts. I mean, Utah, Florida is the only real week 1 game I can think of.
I mean, what? You've got North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida State and LSU.
Oh yeah, Florida State.
yeah,
I forgot about
Florida,
Florida State,
yeah.
LSU.
But they went there last.
Oh,
Didn't they go there last? Did they go there last year though?
Oh yeah, Mark said it's on Thursday, so yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. Game day is. Are we talking about game day? They're going to North Carolina, South Carolina.
Really?
Yeah, that's the primetime game on Saturday. Because
Yep.
Florida State, LSU is on Sunday.
Mark is screaming over here.
Yeah, had to make sure we knew. Yeah, it is on a Thursday. So yeah, they're not. Yeah, the Saturday, college game day is North Carolina, South Carolina, and Charlotte. That'll be fun.
They don't make this. Do they make this schedule the whole, I mean, at the beginning of the season?
I think
College
they do
game
for the
day?
first few weeks.
Okay.
game day is just the first few weeks, and then it's like, then they just kind of decide, which matchup looks the best, or
Yeah.
And where they haven't been and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
guessing week 2 they'll probably be in South Bend would be my guess.
It's not until like week 4 or week 3. I think it's week 3 that Notre Dame Ohio State.
All right, it was
Yeah,
either 2 or
they-
3.
Week 2, they'll probably go Texas Bama.
Oh yeah, that one.
yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, it's actually the Notre Dame Ohio State game is on the September 23rd, so it's pretty far into the season. 1,
Okay.
2, 3. It'll be week 4
All 4.
because they
Now,
play.
Bob.
It's their 5th game. It's their 5th game that Notre Dame plays.
What would they be, 1 and 3?
I'm interested to see how we do in Raleigh. I believe that's week 3. No, week 2. That's week 2. Yeah, that'll be one. That's the only game that might give us a challenge.
I
sure.
don't see that much. Drake May lost his best receiver to the NFL. Was it Josh? I'm trying to think of his last name.
Josh Downs. But we're playing
Thank
NC State.
He's
not
talking about
North
NC
Oh, NC State. Okay.
Raleigh. Yeah,
Oh yeah, the other North Carolina.
yeah. You can call them that. But no, I mean NC State is interesting because of they brought in Brendan Armstrong from Virginia. They brought in Robert Anai from Syracuse as the offensive coordinator, and they're looking to kind of revamp that offense. They're always really, really good on defense with Tony Gibson as their DC. I mean, that could be a spot Notre Dame trips up if the offense hasn't completely gelled. But I don't know.
Click, 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 click.
Oh yeah, I got a clicky keyboard. Sorry.
Ben, come on, you should know better than that.
I gotta switch it out. I have a non-clicky keyboard too, but I like the clicky one. Just feels right.
Oh yeah. Well, Mark is yelling too, so here's a prediction and a question because Mark is shooting out a lot of stuff. So is this going to be any of you? Who in the chat is going to help Mark out here?
I think I can make it happen if game day comes to Clemson, Florida State, or Clemson, Notre Dame. Yeah, I plan to be at both of those games, and so that would be a really good opportunity to do it.
It's a lot of eyeballs, you know.
Could you imagine? I'm have to get on that.
I'm going to work on it for the Lubbock game because I'll be at the Texas Tech Oregon game. So I will work on trying to do something, but it won't be for game day, obviously.
You can hire somebody like Washington State does.
Did they actually hire those people? I thought it was just fans.
I don't know. For them to be every week for like 20 years, you think that I think it's
just a community that voluntarily does it. Or something. They're
somebody's
all over
paid
the country.
Somebody is the biggest Washington State fan in the world and has money.
Yeah.
Because it seems like no matter where they go.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here.
I tell you, game day, Ben, if game day makes it to Eugene this year, I will find a way to get there and make it happen. Flat out.
There are potential possibilities for that, but we'll see.
We'll
see. Yeah, Oregon USC is the one I can think of. Yeah. Maybe the Civil War.
Yeah.
Maybe Utah as well.
No, that's at Utah, but that would be at Utah. But.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Well, how far are you from Corvallis?
A couple hours.
It's not terrible.
No, I'm actually closer to Corvallis than I am Eugene.
There you go. Of course,
that is a lie, Slim Shady Canes. You watch your mouth in this chat.
Of course, Oregon State don't play anybody.
I have strong opinions on.
We're not in a prison there, Shady.
That is a combination that should never be allowed anywhere. I mean, this is America, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, all that. But where do you draw the line?
I might know someone who wears socks with Crocs, but it's not me. But I might know someone.
Probably somebody over the age of 60.
No. If it was, I would be okay with that. Like, you get a pass. You're cool. Whatever. So this is going to be to be honest, I have not gone through this list. But of course, it's the preseason still. We're coming up. All the hype and the buzz have been around it. So as meaningless as this type of topic is, what do you guys think of the preseason Heisman list?
I figured it starts with Caleb Williams.
That's reasonable since he's the current, so to say, Heisman winner.
Well, I mean, he's really the only one I can think of because, I mean, there's too many teams that lost their quarterback. I don't think Jaden Daniels has the accuracy. He won't have the numbers to really be in the argument. Drake May, like I say, he's lost too many. I mean, honestly, if you're going to go with
too many games,
yeah, that's true. I think if you want to go semi dark horse, I'd look at probably Quinn Ewers out of Texas, only because that dude's got a stable of receivers to throw to.
Is he really a dark horse if he's third on the Heisman odds though?
Well, is he that high?
He's right now he's third. Now I want to clarify, this list probably changes almost every day, with one or two spots. This is pretty recent list though, within the last 4 or 5 days.
I see it up there.
It could adjust probably daily.
Issue has always been his accuracy. He's
Well,
got a cannon for an arm, but his accuracy was killing him last year.
Well, he's got receivers that can make plays for him. Like I said, I'd take Jaden Daniels out of it.
Mike,
He's just not accurate.
How do you feel about Blake Corum not being on the list?
I don't think any Michigan guy should be on the list because we're going to be too balanced, and there's going to be we basically got 3 guys that are all going to be taking votes from each other. So you can't go JJ, you can't go Blake, can't go Donovan because it's going to be our office is going to be a balanced breakfast. Put it that way.
Well, hopefully, yeah. But I agree. That's what I kind of. I don't think Blake Corum's going to see as many carries game.
No,
hopefully not because it's better to.
I think Marvin Harrison is way low.
Yeah, I think Marvin Harrison is probably the top non-quarterback.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I put him top 5 easy.
I think he could. I'm surprised he's as low of a percentage. He's really good.
Come to look at that list. He is the only non-quarterback. I mean, if you're gonna, the only other guy I would put on there non-quarterback, and I don't see it, is Judkins, is the running back out of Ole Miss. Because unlike us, Ole Miss, they are strictly ground and pound. Jackson Dart's not going to whip the ball all over the field. They're going to ride Quinshon Judkins as much as they can. So he's probably the one running back I would put up there, and I don't see his name anywhere.
Well, and just for much hype as Florida State's getting, I'm surprised Jordan Travis, again, at least by this list, he's as low as he is, and I'm surprised Drake May isn't even a little higher. Because, everyone's been hyping both of them, and we had to play Drake May last year, and I saw some of the throws he made, and I was like, okay, because they have no defense, so he has to be everything.
I do wonder if it had to do with, Tez Walker, the transfer wide receiver they got from Kent State, his NCAA waiver got denied, and they're still going through the appeal process. I wonder if that had to do with it. I mean, because they were expecting him to be a big time contributor, at receiver. They did get they do have the McCollum kid from Georgia Tech as well, who's really good, but and they also have a really good tight end room. But I guess they seem to think that North Carolina isn't going to win enough games, and the weapons might not be quite as good as they were last year. So
yeah, so he lost his best receiver. So
that's fair. Because that's why I say these lists change every day. I think it's impossible to keep track of these 100%. So Cade Klubnik, is he about the best spot for you, Jordan?
Would I put him 5th on the Heisman odds? I mean, that's exciting because apparently the betting market seems to be high on Cade in this offense, but I wouldn't put him there now. But I think the potential is there. If the offense really is as good as it seems to be, then I could totally see it happening, but not right now. I wouldn't project it. I do think that Clemson is going to be a very run-oriented team this year. So, but
I agree with Mike. I think Daniels up there is I don't know why, because I would switch him with Penix over. To be honest, Penix had the most passing yards last season in the country.
I mean, the only quarterback the only player up there I can see without any real knocks I have him is Caleb Williams. I think this is Caleb Williams' Heisman to lose. So I can pick nits on everybody else.
Do you think people won't vote for Caleb Williams out of spite, out of people just not wanting him to win back-to-back?
Why? So Archie can't be a trivia question anymore?
I honestly think that could be a factor.
No, I can't. I think the biggest problem for him is that where he plays, because you could argue West Coast bias, and I know a lot of you guys do. Feel free to do that.
Another thing I worry about with Caleb Williams is even last year he ran the ball a lot, and I hope he stays healthy.
Yeah, the health thing is
It's hard to stay healthy if he has to run the ball a lot. I'm even worried about that. With McCarthy, I don't like to see him run at all, and I think he runs the ball. I think he's a little bit too risky when he's got the ball running the ball down the field. Just go out of bounds. Go out of bounds.
It's the same for him as like for Bo Nix, because that's when he got hurt. He was running the ball, hurt his ankle again, and then took a while to recover. I think he's back to 100% now, but I mean, it took him out for like 3 or 4 weeks, and he just dropped off the polls. What will you? Sam Hartman, good spot, bad spot?
I mean, I was thinking he would be around like 5 or 6. I mean, if the Irish win, especially if they go 11-1 or 12-0, he has to be in the conversation, because that would mean he would like win us one or two of the big games. So I think Sam has a shot if the Irish win. But if NB goes like 10-2 or 9-3, he probably won't be there. But if like the Irish have the season that like I would want them to have, like being in the playoff or like close to a playoff spot, I definitely think that Sam could be in it or could win.
I mean, I don't think people realize Sam Hartman is like top 20 all time. I think in the NCAA in passing yards. He's the ACC's passing touchdown leader. All of that. I mean, he's had a great career. So I'm honestly surprised that he's this low, to be honest. But
I mean, if I were Notre Dame, I'd be exactly like Will is. I'd be thrilled to get Sam Hartman. When I saw that he was going there, I was like, oh, that's a huge upgrade. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
except for that game, he threw like 5 interceptions at Louisville.
But with like Notre Dame, like
except for that
game, offensive line, like I don't think I'm not really afraid of that happening.
Yeah, this is the best offensive line he's going to have played with. Best running backs. I actually don't think he'll have as good receivers as he had at Wake Forest, but I think everything else around him will be really, really good and allow him to succeed.
I'm thinking like Tobias will be pretty similar to A.T. Perry. Like that's why I'm hoping that he'll have a similar sort of season.
Will, was Sam Hartman there for the whole spring?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a strong spring game.
Yeah, so that's a huge positive to get in there, learn everything, get familiar with everyone, build that rapport. I mean, you bring him in, he's not going to be your backup anyways.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure. I'm a little surprised that Penix is 4th. I thought he would be 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would put him closer to 2nd than 4th.
That's why I would have flipped Daniels and him at least.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you look at the top 5, well, yeah, really the top 5 the projections are Quinn Ewers and Cade Klubnik, because neither one of them have put up the kind of numbers that would suggest Heisman right now. But so a lot of this is projecting. So, but if you wanted to go off of proven production and like the numbers and all of that, then yeah, Michael Penix has to be top 3 at worst. So
that's a good point from Todd here. I mean, there's only one wide receiver. I mean, that's it. There's not even a running back. So it's like, who would be your defensive potential Heisman this year? Because obviously last season the college football world lost a lot of good defensive guys. So it could just be up in the air.
I don't think there's a defensive guy that's even in the discussion this year.
At least at this point.
Yeah,
somebody would have to really. I'm not seeing anything from 2022 that makes me think that they'd be on the list for 2023.
Someone's going to have to break out big time for sure.
Like a sack leader or something like that, or most interceptions, big pass breakups, like DB or something like that.
Yeah.
We don't. I don't see a Will Anderson anywhere on this year.
No.
So, yeah,
and that's fair. That's why I was saying, because I think there's with the transfer portal too, so many players move around now that you have to see how they now fit in the new scheme or with the team and what they do. Even if they were good before, how do they perform now?
I would love to put Will Johnson on that list, but another thing is he's going to probably not play the first 4 games of the season, so that's going to – I don't think it would be there either way, but he's still –
Imagine a defensive back winning the Heisman in this day and age. That would be
that would be awesome.
Like Charles Woodson or something.
Yeah.
What is
He's not at that caliber, but it would be. I still hold out hope for a Michigan player to really emerge as a defensive super stud this year. I have a kind of a feeling in the pit of my stomach that maybe maybe Chris Jenkins is just going to tear it up.
Well, the thing is that for an interior defensive lineman to win a Heisman, I mean,
this is not going to happen.
I mean, there's ridiculous, there's insane, and then there's that.
I know. If that guy from Georgia a couple of years back did not make the list, who's gonna get on there? I mean really.
Yeah. Dominican Sue didn't even win it. I mean, he's one of the most dominant defensive players I've ever seen.
One thing of DBs too. I mean, what would you have to do for that? What was the last 4 or 5 years the tie for the most interceptions in the country? Like 6, 7?
I think somebody would have to get, I would say, minimum 8, and they would have to be a returner of some capacity. They'd have to run back,
and probably
kick back.
tackle for loss too, and stuff like that.
Right.
And maybe force fumbles. You have to add a bunch of stats in there probably.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to be a highlight reel because, like I said, with Charles Woodson, he had one of the greatest interceptions I had ever seen in my entire life against Michigan State when he was playing there. I mean, it was something that looked inhuman. Plus, he had the punt return against Ohio State, for the touchdown. So he got it just, because he was a gifted defensive back, but also
Penn State was crazy too.
What was that?
The hit against Penn State was crazy too.
Yeah. So I mean, if somebody's going to be a defensive back's going to be in the conversation, they'll probably need between 8 and 10 interceptions, and maybe like a couple kick returns for a touchdown. Other than that, I don't see anything.
How does a guy that just got named starting quarterback 3 days ago all of a sudden become a top 10 Heisman candidate?
I don't get it. It's because of where he went.
Yeah, it's the hype. It's the hype and thinking, 3-peat national championship.
I look at Carson Beck and Kyle McCord. It's like these guys have not taken a meaningful snap yet, and all of a sudden they're on a Heisman list. I mean, get out of here.
I think Ohio State, especially I think almost every new starting quarterback immediately gets like at least top 15 or something like that, if not top 10 like them.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
Isn't McCord a true freshman too?
No, he's a
red shirt. He's a red shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he's been there for 3 years, hasn't he, Kyle McCord?
I think he's a redshirt sophomore. If somebody in the chat wants to, update us, I think he's a redshirt sophomore.
That might be true.
Mark knows how long he's been there.
I'll leave it to the Ohio State fans to, give us an exact.
He's been here. I think this is his 3rd year. Yeah, so that would make sense.
But I heard that I don't know. I heard that he may not even. I heard that the other guy, I can't remember his name.
Devin Brown.
Is it Devin Brown? Yeah. Okay, Devin Brown. I heard that he was the one. He was actually looking. I mean, I was watching one of the. I think it was like was it one of the other Ohio State channels? Bucknuts, I think. I think they were talking about him having a possibility. A good possibility. Some of them were leaning to him as being the starter quarterback. I don't know if anybody else heard that.
I know Zach over on Menace is a huge Devin Brown guy.
I mean,
my camera went out again.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I think Devin Brown was. I think in his high school tape, he's more mobile than Kyle McCord is. I think the athleticism might. I mean, he's got a great arm too, but he also has that kind of dual threat ability that I think would be really, really good in that offense. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he ended up being the starter.
If Urban was still there, it wouldn't even be a contest. I know Devin Brown to win the job.
Devin Brown is very much an Urban Meyer type of quarterback for sure. But
do you think if they name like one over the other one will transfer out?
No,
I would think so. Well, I mean, I would assume so. Maybe not during the year, but definitely afterward. I think you'd see one of them leave. That's just kind of how college football is now. So it wouldn't surprise me,
I don't see it.
especially if Devin Brown wins it. He wins it because Kyle McCord is like, I've been. This is my third year. I've basically sat for 3 years. It's time for me to go
Yeah.
somewhere where I'll
See,
start.
that's what I wonder. I wonder if if Devin Brown wins it, if Kyle McCord is gonna maybe he might even hop out this year.
That's a better chance than Devin transferring if Kyle wins it.
Yeah, I don't know if yeah. I think if Kyle McCord has been there longer, so if he lost the job, I think he's out. That would be something.
All right. Well, we're at overhyped quarterbacks, some in the right place, some not in the right place, and no defensive players, and only one wide receiver.
Oh,
But
wait, I'm sorry. Are we going to talk about overhyped quarter? I'm sure it's because of the panel, but are we going to talk about overhyped quarterbacks and not discuss Bo Nix?
Oh,
Dude, I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna be like, bonus.
Because I'm saying, we're talking about overranked quarterbacks, and it's like, I'm seeing Bo Nix's name on there. It's like nobody's going to say something here.
I keep obviously I'm the Oregon guy, but I think in general most people know here I actually don't overhype the Oregon thing that much, but I think he's in a relatively decent place. Before last year, before he got injured, he was one of the top few, like 3 or 4 spots. So I think coming this year, it's his final season. I think he's not number 2 or 3 or something like that. That I might go,
Well,
he's still down there.
In the ratio, it's not the first number I'm looking at; it's the second number I'm looking at.
what second number are you looking at, Mike?
The touchdown to interception ratio.
He didn't
I
throw
do
that
this-
many interceptions.
He threw 25 touchdowns and 7 picks.
That's that's slightly over 3-to-1 ratio. That's
That's a decent by most
pretty
NFL
good.
success.
That's
That's
not
a decent ratio. 3 to
that's
1
not
is
Heisman.
like a good.
That's
No,
not
but also
Heisman.
he had
But he also
600
had,
rushing yards and 14 rushing touchdowns.
14 rushing touchdowns and 20-something passing touchdowns.
Well,
Not
the
many,
The other
Yeah,
thing
that-
I would look at is when those occurred too. When those interceptions occurred,
Yeah.
did it lose them the game?
Well, either way, if you're the starting
No.
quarterback,
No.
I mean, if
Not
you only throw
last
7
year.
picks in a year, that's a pretty good. You've taken care of the ball pretty well. I don't.
So are you
Yeah,
guys
it-
at all worried that his numbers are going to dip without Kenny being there? Do you guys think that are you guys at all worried about Will Stein not being as good as him?
no. He's pretty much using the same system that Kenny ran, just a little twerk here and there.
Yeah, he's come out and said, "Why fix something that's not broken? I'm not going to change too much. I'm going to keep most of the same, even the verbiage of plays and stuff like that. He's not going to do too much, but we're going to see. Of course, when you change an OC, you have to see how it works. But we have the starter game with Portland State, so I think he'll have time to adjust anything he needs. Hopefully, and so we'll have to see.
We'll see what happens in Lubbock, and Ben will
Yeah.
be there to give us
Yeah.
good insight.
Me crying on screen at the halftime shows, we're getting blown out, or after the game when I don't show up for the post game. No, I can't talk tonight.
Well, it won't end your season because say last season you started off with a gut punch and it still ended up pretty good.
Right.
And remember, Texas Tech is projected to be a pretty good team this year, and it's in Lubbock. So
Yeah, and even last year, I brought it multiple times, but last time, if you go back I've had to go back and look at that game against Georgia. Everyone was going to get for the most part, their ass kicked by Georgia, especially that type. The adjustments between game 1 and game 2, personnel-wise even, were substantial. Because, well, that didn't work. Move this guy here. There we go. That works now. So we're going to see. We'll see how this goes. But I think the numbers will be similar. I think.
But much better than that Cristobal guy could ever adjust to.
Sorry, Miami fans. We warned
Do you guys have anybody that stands out that you don't think should be on that list? I have one person, but it's low-hanging fruit. It's Joe Milton.
Yeah, he's not.
I cannot believe he's even on the list because I just don't think there's a chance.
I think the only reason he's on that list was because of what he did to Clemson in the Orange.
Jordan started rolling his eyes like, don't talk about him. I don't want to remember his name.
Well, I would say, the Michigan guys are going to wonder why he's on there because we've seen Milton and we know he's not the quarterback.
Yeah, he's just not consistent. I mean, I don't think he doesn't have a good arm or he can throw the ball, but I just don't think he has accuracy consistent, and I don't think he makes great decisions.
No.
Well, here's the thing about Tennessee's offense is you don't have to be that particularly accurate. I mean, it's a very see it, throw it offense. So and Joe Milton, I think, say what you want. I know we've got Michigan fans on the channel, but I do think he's grown since he's been at since he had been at Michigan. And I think the offense he's in is suited to his strengths. I think now I don't expect a Heisman type season just because I'm not really sure that Tennessee is going to get the kind of receiver play that they got last year. But they're still going to put up numbers. Josh Heupel has never not had a top 10 offense, at least in terms of yardage. Even when you go back to UCF. So I think
true.
I'm not that mad about Joe Milton being on the list. I could see him putting up a pretty strong year, but it would have to be he'd have to have a pretty big season. If he's not as effective as Hooker was last year, I don't think he'll be.
Well, I don't think he can be because if I remember right, Tennessee led the nation in points scored last year. They were number one in offense.
Yeah, they were the number one offense. Yeah.
There's a few
super efficient, explosive, all that.
Yeah.
There's a few oddities, of course, that we talk about. Carson Beck, Cade Klubnik, of course, he did start a lot last year, so I see why he could be up there because of the potential. Drew Aller, how much did he really play last year?
He
was sparing.
So that's why I'm kind of like he's kind of the oddball for me. It's just the hype, I think, because I don't really know why he's on the list. I guess
one thing about him. I think and why I could put him on this list. I think he's the biggest unknown. So he could have a really good season, or he might not. We don't really know enough.
Well, there are other more unknowns. I mean, Alara's seen some snaps. McCord and Beck have seen practically
yes.
none.
Well, Georgia, the guy for Georgia, we completely, that's for sure, yeah.
I mean, we've seen
Carson,
we've seen some sample size of Drew Alar. He looks real. But the thing is that I don't like him up there because Penn State's going to be a run-heavy offense because of their running backs. They've got a great 1-2 punch at running back.
Yeah, they do.
I'll give you my overhyped one, honestly. I know he had a great year last year or whatever, but I just think the defenses are going to be toned into him now, and he's got a history of injuries. It is Michael Penix Jr. I just don't think Washington's going to be as good as they were last year.
I disagree. I think Washington's going to be better.
I think they will too.
I think that Washington might have they bring back so many players, and I'm strong on teams that bring back. I think they're like a number one Power 5 team for returning production or close to it. They're up there.
Yeah, they're up there.
And I just think Washington's going to do well this year. I think they bring back a lot. Don't they bring back most of their offense? I mean,
yeah.
It's a tie up there. It's like 7 or 8 of the offense, I think, something like that. It's pretty decent. It's a pretty decent number. I kind of get what Spaz is saying though, because remember we live in the Pac-12 world, where a good team one year can be the dumpster fire the next year, just because of the conference. That's just the way things go. Unfortunately, I just hope Penix doesn't deal with injuries, because he was fun to watch. So I want to see him play to his fullest strength, But I get where he's coming from on that, about the defenses adjusting a bit.
Yeah.
Well, and
I know this is pick, but where are you guys projecting? I mean, are you guys thinking Oregon has a shot at a championship, the last Pac-12 championship?
I believe so. I mean, we've got our backfield is just loaded. We got Bucky returning. We've got Whittingham returning. Plus, we've got a couple of redshirt guys that can take the rock at any time. And the receiving core we have this year is way better, 10 times better than what we had last year. Last year we had 2 guys maybe you could throw to. This year we've got half a dozen guys. We got the guy Trayshawn Holden. We've got the Bo's brother-in-law or whatever.
His adopted brother, Tez Johnson.
Adopted brother Tez Johnson from Alabama.
His actual brother's at Clemson. He's a walk-on at Clemson.
And we just got so many weapons, more weapons for Bo to throw to. And our backfield's even improved. It's not just 2 guys. There's 5 or 6 guys deep in our backfield that can run the rock and can give you 100 yards a game if you give it to them. We're just loaded. The key is in our secondary. Our secondary must be improved. Otherwise, guys like Caleb and Penix are going to have a field day.
And even last year, really, if you think about it, even with a busted Bo playing that game, we beat Utah. And we were 1 game away from being in the Pac-12 title game.
I'm going to miss that about the Pac-12 because when I look at the Pac-12 right now, man, they're so like I can't pick a one team. I mean, I can't say USC is gonna win the Pac-12. I like Washington, but then you have Oregon and Utah, and oh man, it's just how do you make that decision? How do you make that call?
The Pac is a conference that I think has the most teams legitimately vying for the conference. I mean, every other conference I can narrow it down to 2, 3 at most. I can name 5 teams from the Pac that could legitimately win it.
Yeah, even Oregon State could be in it this year.
Yeah, and I think it's going to come down. I picked USC and Oregon State to play for the Pac, and a lot of this is because of Oregon State's schedule. They dodge USC. You know, I think every difficult game they have is going to be in Corvallis, with the exception of the Civil War.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I think Oregon State's going to, benefit from a favorable schedule and be there at the end.
Well, with that type of notion, they're talking about that. It's time for our moment of silence for the Pac-12.
Boo, boo, boo.
I didn't mean. I'm sorry.
You went so fast. It was like done in like 4 days. It was like, hey, Pac-12, and no, we're dead.
In the arms of the angel.
I don't know how you could collapse something like that so fast.
For just 50 cents a day, you can help Cal and Stanford.
You can help support a beaver, a coug, a tree, or a bear. That's all it takes. 50 cents a day.
It's the Brookback West Mountain Conference.
They'll find new homes. Except Stanford. Stanford might go independent.
Stanford could. Stanford is like the only one that could, I think. They're the only one.
I think Cal has an outside
Connor,
shot of it.
I'm not laughing at you, Connor. You know I feel bad for you guys.
We're more laughing at the Pac-12 leadership.
And the presidents, yeah. The stubbornness of those people are... I mean, it's known now because ESPN gave them an offer for like $30 million a team like a year ago. Pac-12 said, I think we can do better. They shot $50 million a year, and ESPN just like, goodbye. I'm like, dude, at least lowball it. Like, go, hey, how about 38, and then counter with like 32, 33, but I'm like, come on, it's the stubbornness.
It reminds, like I imagine like the ESPN execs like in that meeting they just it was kind of like J.K. Simmons in Spider-Man when he's J. Jonah Jameson and he's laughing at Peter. Yeah, that's kind of what that reminds me of. I think that's
I
that.
could see. I could see.
Jordan,
if
you
they
got me
pack- I could
wondering
see-
what the ultimate playout music would be for the Pac-12. I mean, like, what would we play? I mean, that was a good song. It was a good choice. I was like thinking, leaving on a jet plane.
I will remember you.
There you go. That's a great one.
You will remember.
I figured maybe like Sheryl Crow's leaving Las Vegas or something.
Oh,
Well, now
man.
there's rumor they're trying to get the Big Ten title game moved to Vegas on top of it.
That would be awesome. It's not geographically convenient for us, but when is it ever?
Well, that or they said that or the Rose Bowl. I heard too.
God.
But I was like,
what?
that doesn't make any
What?
sense for the
Doesn't
Big
make
Ten
sense at
people.
all.
It's like, that
No
doesn't
more
make
Rose
any
Bowl
sense.
after this year? Gone.
Well,
Goodbye.
there is. It's just a playoff semi-rotational. The Rose Bowl had to finally eat it and just go, okay, we'll be part of the rotation because it's officially dead.
I am excited about having meaningful games played, and like I think Michigan has. I think USC is like one of the only teams that have a winning record against Michigan, and I'm glad that they are going to have to play us on our home stadium once in a while. That's going to be nice. It's one thing I am excited about.
I just like the fact that we're going to be able to get, legitimate teams in here. We're going to be able to play Michigan, Ohio State, in Autzen every couple of years or whatever, We're going to be able to have those huge, big games that mean something. And they're not going to be every 10 years. Oh, look, we get to play Michigan in 2035, We're actually going to have meaningful games throughout the year. We're just going to have, we got Cal and Stanford and Washington State. Oh, look, we got USC. No, we're going to have Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State, Minnesota.
Well, that's great. You're also going to get the Northwesterns and the Indianas and the Rutgers. So
Sure. Yeah.
It ain't all roses over here.
Yeah, but it's much better, I think, than what the Pac-12 has to offer.
I mean, you do get challenging games. I mean, if I'm an Oregon Ducks fan, every time I see a game I have to play in Arizona, I go, oh dear God.
It's a curse.
Yeah, Arizona is a curse. Yeah, just ask Dennis Dixon about that.
And it's not like the Devils or the Cats can be good. I mean, they could be like 3-9 that year, but for some reason you go down there and they just eat you alive.
Yeah, ask Washington last year.
Yep.
They lost to Arizona State in an awful, horrible game.
Connor says I'm not from Oregon. How does he know? I'm technically just across the border.
Well, gentlemen, this brings us to our final topic, where I'm going to give you each time to speak, talk amongst yourselves, mostly because we have two Michigan guys, so they kind of have to talk together. Team expectations, hopes. Don't be unrealistic, Michigan. Jordan,
Oh, you mean like
what?
what do you mean by
Back-to-back
unrealistic?
playoffs. Back-to-back
Yeah.
playoffs. I mean, what do you think is unrealistic?
Well, I don't know. We had the Biscuit give a good one. I wouldn't mind seeing this. Playoff would be UGA, Clemson, and Michigan versus Oregon. That's their prediction.
Diverse regional. Well, I mean, UGA Clemson would be. That's like they're like an hour and a half from each other. But those four teams. That's a pretty good spread across the country. To get
That would be
I actually have 3 of those teams in my playoffs.
Mike, quiet. You're not including Oregon.
Sorry. I am including the Pack, though.
That's fair.
The former Pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, former Pack.
Soon to be former
Yeah,
Pack.
you're-
Yeah.
Soon to be
You're
former.
picking USC, aren't you, there, Mike?
Yeah, I have Georgia, Clemson, Michigan, and USC.
Why is everybody so stuck on USC?
I think their defense is going to be significantly better this coming year.
I mean, it's,
Well,
it's fair. It's fair.
Better could mean like they're like 70th in total.
Yeah.
Well, with that offense, they could probably get by with 70th. I mean, with Lincoln Riley over there at Oklahoma, his defense was complete trash, and he still made the playoffs.
It's fair because you think they lost 2 games. They lost both times to Utah. The other one was the first time was by 1 point. And then, of course, they got blown out, and everyone's like, well, it's because Caleb got hurt. It's like, well, also your defense continues to not be able to tackle.
And USC got a horrendous penalty win against them.
That's your own personal opinion, Mike.
Oh, come on. Okay, let's bring in Prangley and Tony and all them and see if they agree with you. If it's just my opinion,
I've heard enough
That's
about
a lot
that.
of people's opinion.
it's like everybody with eyes opinion.
Yeah, they did get kind of screwed on that. I'll give them that.
No, we don't give them anything. We don't give them anything. Love you guys. Love the USC show and the Pac-12 show. Make sure you tune in for that every Sunday and Wednesday night.
Hold on, let's pour one out for Will real quick. I think we lost him.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's like, yeah, my internet's his internet's dying.
yep. His internet crapped out.
Mike's webcam is working now, and Will's internet's dying.
Oh, I'll speak for Will.
Tag,
Will
you're
is
it.
expecting a national championship.
Man,
That's where it's for Will. It's national championship or bust.
Will's
same way for
internet
us.
is
He
doing
said
its
10-2 earlier.
Will's internet's doing its best Notre Dame impression. You know, he went the whole stream, and it was going great, and then at the very end.
No, I think Will will be happy if they beat Ohio State this year. I think it's from talking with him earlier. I think that's what his I think that's where he was going, and
It's kind of the monkey they haven't gotten off their back. So
Yeah.
I think that's the game they.
You do realize that was kind of an ironic comment from you, Jordan.
Yeah, somewhat.
Like I say, I remember your last 2 games this season. I don't think you want to talk about them.
Hey,
so
I can also talk about the years where we did win our last game of the season. So those weren't too long ago.
Yeah,
no,
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
Hey, and
Notre
plus,
Dame
hey,
beats
the year
Ohio
before
State.
we won the Cheez-It Bowl. So don't talk.
well, there was an interesting stat with the Notre Dame Michigan game, which happened early in the season. When Notre Dame beat Michigan, they always had a great season. Like I forget, can't remember the exact stat, but they always finished, I think, in the top 10 after beating Michigan.
Well, they always start in the top 10 every season.
That's true.
They can go 4-8, and they'll be ranked 7th next season.
Right? But that's kind of like Michigan, too, you know.
No, I remember a lot of times when Michigan was unranked preseason. In fact, in 2021, when we ended up second overall and go to the playoffs, we were unranked at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That is true.
I mean, I'd be surprised if we were ranked, considering we came off of a dismal COVID year. I mean, we lost
think
to
if
Indiana.
Notre Dame beats Ohio State, I think Ohio State people are going to be jumping off the top of the shoe.
That's right. It is,
Dude.
That's right, Darrell. It is the Pop-Tart Bowl now. It's the Cheez-It Bowl. That's
Okay, I want to talk about this for a second because do you guys remember when Oregon beat Ohio State and all the chat rooms were like "Fire Day, Fire Day"? If Notre Dame beats Ohio State, I am wondering.
Oh yeah, no. The Fire Day comments are going to go crazy if Notre Dame pulls that off.
Yeah,
Like I said, they're going to be jumping off the shoe.
Oh, you should have seen them. At the end of November after, we beat them this past year in the shoe. Oh God, there were people
Notre
confident.
Dame and Michigan in the same season. Could you imagine?
Ugh.
No, I really can't imagine.
I think he's asking
As the Anthony here in the comment, I can't because I'm not Sam. So, no.
Sorry, Anthony. Sam's not here.
He took his best guess. He was like, all right, it's got to be one of them. It's 50-50.
50-50, 50-50.
We're just messing with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, that's what it was. I think Mark got back to this too. It kind of slipped past really fast. A lot of comments coming in. So yeah, when have we seen a conference implode even quicker? Yeah, exactly. And then Mark even followed up. It was like, yeah, 4 to 5 years. Pack took 2 weeks. Exactly. One day it was there, and literally like 2 days later it was like, we're saved, and then, oh, we're gone. Darn it.
Yep. Goodbye.
Yeah, I know the Southwest Conference kind of dipped pretty quick.
It was a slow
Mark,
death. No,
if Ohio State loses to Notre Dame, are you jumping off the shoe, Mark?
Well, no one beats OSU apparently.
No one beats OSU except for the teams that beat OSU.
Well, I thought with the Southwest Conference, most of the teams left in one fell swoop. I know Arkansas kind of left early, but didn't like Houston and Rice and all them kind of just right immediately?
It took a couple of years. Wasn't that 79?
I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
the Southwest Conference was still around in the 80s.
With the pack, it was more because, you know, USC, UCLA left. And then it was like, okay, well, you can still salvage it. Obviously, you lose those, but then it's like, hey, we have a deal. Oh, we already turned down another deal. Oh, this is the new deal. Oh, it sucks. Everyone's gone. Like immediately, yeah, within like 2 weeks, you know, trying to salvage it.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
nope.
as soon as I saw the thing, you know, Pac wants $500 million. I'm like, well, that's the end of them.
Yeah, that's why I was like, they could have bargained. If they had signed even a 33, 34-ish, I think it would have been like, whatever. Okay, fine. But they were like, no, $50 million apparently. I was like, yeah,
Well,
you
and
guys
as
are
soon as
ridiculous.
I saw the Apple deal, as soon as I saw they're having the meeting about bringing the Pac-12 to Apple TV, I was like, goodbye, it's over.
Well, with that too, you had to wait to see if it was going to be a combination of different things. That's why it seemed like it was taking forever. But yeah, it was like, then it turned out to be like within 2 or 3 hours, Oregon's like, hey, Big Ten, we'll take that deal. Washington, we'll take that deal too.
Yeah.
And that was it. I mean,
And then when Oregon and Washington went over, you could hear some cursing down in Los Angeles.
oh yeah. Well, some of the Big Ten were like, crap too. Rutgers, Maryland, you know.
Now we got 4 of them? Jeez.
Who do you want?
Go
ahead, I'm sorry. I was just wondering, the non-Pac-12 guys, who would you like to see win the Pac-12 this year?
I don't have a
like
dog in the fight.
Yeah. Do you have anybody in particular? Anybody that's coming to the Big Ten. That's all that matters to me. I mean, I kind of would like to see like Utah or win something like that.
I'd like to see Oregon State win it because I don't think they're going to have too many bites at the apple.
Yeah, I mean, they're an easy program to root for. Could you imagine if Washington State just kind of came up out of nowhere and had a really strong year?
Hey, don't even doubt that. You never know.
I mean, that's not crazy though. Like, I'm not like with Cam Ward is still there. I mean, that's someone we didn't even really talk about. But
yeah, there's a guy that should have actually been on the Heisman list right there. Is Cam Ward. Good point, Jordan. Yeah.
I mean,
he lit Oregon up last year.
Could you imagine if Wazoo just went and that would be something.
Oh, I can imagine how happy Connor would be if Oregon State made it to the playoffs. Oh.
Well, again, they won 10 games last year, and they held USC at bay, 17 points. So you never know what could happen. Plus, again, DJ, so they have an upgraded quarterback. So you never know.
What if it was Colorado? What if Dion? And now I'm just throwing out random stuff.
Goodbye, Jordan. You're all.
I can say if Colorado's even in the playoff discussion in November, I don't even know what to say.
Dion, coach of the year. He's like the greatest coaching job of all time. probably.
Oh yeah.
I would say.
He'll be lucky to win 2 games this year.
Yeah, no.
I'll take them for maybe 4, because I remember they're going to probably. I'm pretty sure they play like Cal.
Don't they play
Stanford,
TCU?
So, well,
Don't they play TCU
They
pretty
do play
good?
TCU, so I'm not saying that's a win, but I'm saying like they have to play Cal and Stanford. There's going to be probably 3 wins, maybe. We'll have to see, but I'll take them for 4 wins even. But
And
that's about it.
They play Colorado State. I mean, they play Colorado State every year, so to my knowledge, the Rams aren't any good.
I mean, Dion's first
They're
game in
still
the Pac-12 is
fighting
at
over everybody,
Austin.
and Dion's like, let them all fight. Okay.
Yeah, he's got.
Unless everybody's fighting. What are you doing, Dion?
Yeah, he's got an interesting, personnel style.
Yeah.
If you didn't jump in the fight, you're fired. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Now Jarrell brings out Colorado also plays Stanford.
Oh God, that's gonna be a barn burner.
Yeah. Will, where are you, Will? We're talking about Stanford.
I mean, we trashed Stanford. I honestly don't think Stanford's going to be that bad this year. Cal is going to be horrendous. It wasn't and Colorado was Cal was Colorado's only win last year, I think, if I remember correctly.
Didn't Cal
It
beat
might have been,
Notre
yeah.
Dame last year as well?
Cal
No,
almost-
Cal lost,
were,
but it was a close
they-
game, I think.
they dropped
Cal beat Notre Dame. Oh no, they didn't.
No,
It was
no,
Stanford beat
You're
Notre
right,
Dame.
You're right.
Yeah.
Stanford beat them.
But I think Cal gave
It was
Notre Dame a
close.
fight, though.
Cal dropped a game-winning or a game-tying touchdown in the end zone. I think
That's
on
right.
4th
That's
down.
right.
Yeah.
I think that was what that was.
Wow.
And then Cal was Colorado's only win too.
Yeah.
Marshall's the team that beat Notre Dame. That's crazy.
Yeah, Stanford and Marshall beat Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
Will.
Stanford,
Sorry,
yeah,
Will.
you
Sorry,
could see,
Will.
but Marshall, oh,
The Thundering Herd.
Well, Marshall's defense was really damn good last year. I don't think they were like top 10 in a lot of defensive categories last year. They were a really good defense. And when your quarterback is Drew Pine, and it's not very good. I can't trash him too much because Drew Pine did beat Clemson, but still, that was a pretty rough situation. Yes, Roger Dodger. I don't need the reminder. I don't need the reminder.
I was wondering when that was coming.
I don't.
yeah, we're glad there's no TCU fans on this panel, right, Mike?
Yeah, well, I don't
that's
think
a
I've
game
ever
I'd
met a
rather
TCU
forget.
fan.
That was by far one of the best games of the year, though. Sorry,
Oh, yeah. We
Yeah,
finally
yeah.
got two good semifinal games.
everywhere. Yeah.
In years past, it was
Yeah.
like we were lucky
They
if we
both
got
were.
one good semifinal.
So both
then-
the semifinal games are great games.
And then it got capped off by probably the worst championship game ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have much
Statistically, I
rather
was.
have seen Michigan in there than TCU.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think we would have beat Georgia, but we would have played a lot closer
It would
than
have
that.
been a better game. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was hoping for, too. I was shocked that TCU just kept hanging and kept hanging and kept hanging.
As was
No.
I.
I was
That's
actually pulled for Ohio State. I mean, I feel dirty saying that, but I would have loved to have a Michigan Ohio State national championship.
Oh, that would have been insane.
Oh,
Yeah, in that
That-
case, but I did not want them to be there and us not. I mean, in
no,
that case,
no,
yeah.
no.
I was like,
I
Mike,
don't-
I am about ready to kick him off the panel. I'll figure
no,
out. how.
I wouldn't want Ohio State and TCU. God, no. That would,
No.
oh, I'd never hear the end of this one.
No, that would be horrible. It would have been horrible.
Well,
But I mean,
going
that's
back
one of
to
the few
this-
times I've ever rooted for Ohio State.
Well, going back to this, Jordan, what is your expectation for the Tigers this year?
15-0, national champions. Oh, yes.
All right, now you sound like traveling fools. Jordan's gone again.
Hey,
I'm
well,
off the
okay.
stream.
Well, in my defense, we have done it before, but I'm just saying. But no, in all seriousness, I do think the expectations for Clemson is to look good on offense again. Win the ACC and make it back to the playoff. I think if those three things happen, and don't lose to your rival. I think if all those things happen, I think you consider that season a success. Not really too worried about what this team does if they get to the playoff. I mean, if they lose a semifinal game, I still think I think it's a successful season, and it's something for Cade to build off going into his junior year, because I think 2024 could be really special if things really come together. But yeah, I think 11-1, I think would be a really, really good year. Win the ACC, make it back to the playoff.
What about you, Ben and Mike, as the Michigan guys? I know what's coming.
No, actually, I'm see. My fear is that Michigan's going to lose one game, and it's just going to put them out of a playoff shot. Because I think that's my fear. I think it's hard to go undefeated, and especially doing it back to back. And I think that's more likely to. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like 50, maybe 60-40 that we're going to lose a game in the Big Ten, and if that happens, I think there's a good shot that we're not going to be in the playoffs.
And I completely disagree. The game we're going to be closest to losing is when we have to go to Happy Valley. And I think Penn State is good. I don't think they're in the Michigan-Ohio State tier yet. I think there's a little bit of a gap between Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. So I think we win there, and that's going to be our toughest game. I do not think Ohio State and Ann Arbor is going to be our toughest game.
Well, see, don't get me wrong, Mike. I think we should be favored in every game. It's hard to win every game. It's hard to.
Well, we won every game last year. We should have won every game 2 years ago, if not for some. We'll call it questionable referee calls.
Yeah,
and then Kenneth Walker going nuts. But
yeah.
I mean, we should have been back to back undefeated.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I'll be hopeful for that. I hope you're right. I do.
I mean, my goal is make a national championship and win it unless it's Georgia, and then just play a good game and see where the chips fall. Because I mean, I think. I mean, when I ranked seasons preseason, I have Georgia 1, Michigan 2. Just like pretty much every reputable, sports source out there. Not Josh Pate. He has us at 4. Don't ask me why.
Well, this is the thing. Do you think, though, if we did lose a game, do you think that we're still going to make the playoffs?
I think we could, because last year we had a team that went 11-1, didn't even play for their conference, and still made the playoffs. So losing one game is not the be-all, end-all. Your season is over.
It depends on just what happens with other conferences. Exactly.
Yeah,
like if USC had beaten Utah, USC would have gone in instead.
Yeah.
So,
and like I said, you have to wonder if Texas is going to start doing Texas things. If USC's defense isn't going to quite go up to snuff, and in the ACC, Florida State and Clemson could kind of duke each other out, so a one-loss team, even if they don't win the conference, is not necessarily out. There's other factors going to be involved.
But here's what I think. I think if it's Georgia wins the SEC, and then you have a one-loss Alabama, they're gonna. Especially if they make the championship game and lose to Georgia, I think they'll be in.
I don't think I think LSU is more likely to make it than Alabama, because I think with Alabama at the end of the time their strength of schedule could be a problem, because all their quote unquote hard games are going to be at home. Texas is going to be at home. LSU is going to be at home. Tennessee is going to be at home. There's really not going to be a marquee win they can hang on unless they just absolutely destroy LSU and Texas by 3 touchdowns. I think there's going to be somebody else that passes the guy test above Alabama, I don't think
we went from Michigan expectations to SEC potential hypotheticals.
I'm sorry.
Well, we do have to talk about the SEC. There's no panelists here from the SEC, so we need to get.
Well, no. We have.
I'm waiting for Daryl to be going nuts in the chat.
We have Daryl over here, and he give you a shout out. I put it up on the screen.
Yeah, but not on the panel. But I mean,
he give you a shout out.
I don't think it's going to be as likely this year, because I think there is a legitimate scenario for multiple teams to finish undefeated. I think.
Really?
I think the winner of the Big Ten is probably going to be undefeated. I think Georgia's going to be undefeated. I have Clemson being 12, 13 and 0 going into the playoffs. But of course, this is something Darrell and I think the hype for Florida State is way overblown. I think there's a gap.
Speaking my language, keep talking, Mike.
I guess people are just praising Jordan Travis as the next oh god, I'm getting a brain fart. The crab leg stealer.
Winston.
Oh, Jameis
Thank
Winston.
you. Thank you.
I was gonna give you a hint and yell the other line that he said, but we can't do that. We can't.
Mark is still here. We can't say that one. We can't.
Well, you could.
Mark is cringing right now, going, "Don't do it. Don't do it."
Honestly, if Mark knows what we're referring to, that would be the real shock. But that's a deep cut. Like you had to be there. Like that was crazy.
Well, I already know actually, I don't know. Spaz, what do you think for Oregon? I mean, I have my own expectations or hopes, but I mean, what would be your highlight? I mean, besides national title, obviously, because that's where I don't expect that.
I mean, if I'm shooting for the moon, yeah, it's making it to the Final Four, but realistic, top 10 in a Big Six game, really. 10-2, 11-1. Our toughest games really are going to be at Washington and at Utah. I don't see us losing a game at home. I see us smacking USC just because it's USC.
Oh.
And like I said, I think our toughest games are going to be Washington and Utah.
God, I wish Tim and Tony were on here. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I mean, the hardest games are at Washington and at Utah. I think those are the two hardest ones. I mean, I think USC will be more of like a shootout. It really comes down to which defense shows up the best, and we'll get a taste. We'll get a taste about Oregon's defense soon.
I think we have a better defense than USC. Sorry.
Oh, gee, there's an accomplishment.
Overall, yes, I think we do. So if they could really step up, even more, that's going to be the difference. Give me a Pac-12 title and a Rose Bowl this year, and I'd be like, or not even a Rose Bowl win, but a Rose Bowl appearance. I'd be like, all right, that's a step up.
No, because then we have to face those Michigan guys who goes to the Rose Bowl.
No, you don't.
Wait. The Rose Bowl is a playoff this year, isn't it? Is the Rose Bowl in rotation this year?
I believe it is.
It is.
Give us a Fiesta Bowl appearance.
That will be Clemson then.
So what does it have to be for a Pac-12 champion winner to not make the playoffs? Is it one game, 2 games?
Two or more losses, I think, depending on what happens with the other conferences.
I think the conference will be strong enough that a one-loss champion will get in.
I think so too.
Could get in, yeah. 2, no.
Yeah, because I think the Pac will be better than the ACC and the Big 12 this year.
I'd agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think Florida State's way overrated this year.
Yeah.
Clemson's obviously the cream of the crop in the ACC and has been.
Well, that's good though, Jordan. That's good for Jordan when they play them.
Yeah, I mean,
let them be overrated.
I would like Florida State to be. I don't want to. Hold on. Let me hold up a second. It would be cool if Florida State, was undefeated heading into that game because, just selfishly, I love, I would love that to be a top 5, top 10 matchup. Maybe game day comes there. That would be a great game. It kind of like reminds me of like when Lamar Jackson and Louisville came down to Clemson back in 2016, and that classic. That would, like, if we had a game like that would be really cool. But I also
he was literally like
be great if
2 feet from the first down or whatever.
Yeah, one of the best games I've ever seen. But I would also it'd be great if they just came in there and we blew them out too. So I would take that.
So I know Florida State fans don't like Lamar Jackson.
No,
Hey,
they
Ben, can
do
I ask you,
not.
Paxton?
They whooped the ever loving hell out of Florida State.
That's one of the worst. Yeah, that was one of the. And that Florida State team won the Orange Bowl that year. That was crazy. Won 10 games.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
I was just wondering if I could ask one more question for the Pac-12 guys, the Oregon guys. Since this is the last year of the Pac-12, and you have UCLA and Washington and USC coming with you to the Big Ten, what game is the game that you want to win the most this year? Other than those, I mean, like for last, you may not play these, other Pac-12 teams for however long. What game are you looking that is going to be the most important in that scenario? If I know that was a horrible way to bring up that question, but what I'm saying is all the teams that you're not going to play that aren't coming to the Big Ten with you, out of those teams.
Go for it, Spaz. Oregon State.
Because we just don't know if they're going to continue the rivalry. Oregon says they want to continue it, but who knows? I think you can still continue it, just like Florida State, Georgia Tech. They're all not in the same conference.
Iowa,
Kentucky.
Iowa State.
Yeah, Kentucky.
But they still continue those rivalry state games.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we keep that going.
That's what I lean to, because I mean, this season's going to be weird because again,
Sorry,
we're not
Connor,
going to see
you're
a lot of these teams.
last one. Sorry.
Yeah,
And
well, that
that
too
rivalry-
is the last one.
That rivalry does have a cool nickname.
This year ain't happening, Connor.
But I mean,
Yeah,
so Oregon State, I think with me, if I was an Oregon fan, I'm like, I think it's likely that you guys are going to play, that you're going to put yourself on the schedule just for, rivalry's sake. But like, is there another team that like, hey, if they get the best of you, let's say Stanford beats you and you're not playing with them forever, how long is that going to eat at you more? They have that last win.
That one will be a little tough, but I think it really comes down to I have to agree with Spaz. It comes down to Oregon State. If we lost them and then for some reason didn't play them for like 6, 7, 8 years, that would kill me.
Well, we could bring in Will MD for that one.
Mine would be Washington State if you want to go in that route, because Washington State has beaten us a couple of times recently. 2 years ago in Autzen Stadium, I just wanted to fucking shoot myself. That loss, the 44-41 or whatever, that was just an insane game. Should have never lost. That's the kind of game that'll eat me.
Yeah, you guys got way to go, Ben. You got Connor all hot and bothered up in here in the chat now. He's just constantly running his mouth.
I love when Connor's talking to
Not here with us.
Oh man!
Hey, where's the Beaver After Dark game? Oh, that's right. We don't have a Beaver After Dark.
Oh God!
Well, there is a Beaver After Dark, but that's something else. That shouldn't be on television.
Oh,
I think Mark is still watching. Calm yourself down over there, Jordan. This is a family show.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
Well,
Even Comedy Central allows the F-bombs after 11 o'clock.
yeah, hey, I'm on Eastern time, so I'm all good.
Good,
I think as long as one of us is after midnight, I think it doesn't count. So
You didn't hear that.
Oh man!
Well,
There's
there's the USC guy.
There's the USC year.
They are.
Oh,
Tim,
man.
how bad are we going to spank you at Autzen this year?
Oh God. Now Tim has to go back and watch the whole show to get all that hype train. But hey guys, I have to say, first and foremost, thank you guys for joining this panel. This is the relaunch, the reboot for the brand new 2023 season. This football's been gone for too long. And I have to thank the chat, of course, for everyone who's come in here. Because without the chat, I mean, we're just sitting here doing nothing. And the chat interacts the most, and they give us a lot of laughs and some good questions and some nonsense as usual. But, you know, that's what we're here for, to deal with. So,
Took his beaver and went to bed. Poor guy.
oh, poor viewers. So in closing, I'm going to say again, thank you, everyone. We're here every Sunday night here on the Voice of College Football with the After Dark show. Talk about all the games coming up. This is just week 0. Week 1, it's going to go crazy. There's only 7 games week 0, and then week 1 you look at it and you're like, I can't
100?
keep up. I can't keep track. Yeah, you're like, I can't keep track. So you have to pick your games wisely. So as usual, though, well, first time for Spaz here, but as always, you all are more than welcome, of course, promote yourself, promote your channel, promote shows, promote anything you've got going on, your socials, everything. So please, Jordan, Clemson, man, take it away.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter, not calling it X. At Jumbo0209. It's on the screens. I'm sure all of you guys can read. So feel free to give me a follow. I basically I just tweet about Clemson and sports in general. I do a show every week on the Clemson Voice of College Football channel with Tiger Paw Craven. The All-In Show every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So be sure to check us out. I don't make as many beaver jokes over there, so I
As many, not as many.
It's a little bit. I have a little bit more decorum than that. So, but yeah, feel free to check us out. We welcome all fans. You don't have to be a fan of Clemson. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in.
Me, I guess, next. I guess I'm next on the thing. Yeah, so the only place you're going to find me is right here on College Football After Dark. And so if you love my personality and just can't get enough of seeing me make my wonderful, well thought out, great questions and these, perfect flowing, speech that I have, come here and watch me, and I'm gonna not disappoint.
Mike, take it away on your end, because Spaz is going to repeat. I'm going to repeat Spaz a lot. So,
like I said, I'm most just like Ben. I'm only here to, no Twitter, no X, no Facebook, no Instagram, no Snapchat. I might make a TikTok account to stalk my ex-girlfriend, but that's a side story.
And
I'm just kidding. Or am I?
Mike
And
just admitted to a crime in front of
yeah,
74
I was like, it
people.
was
Oh my
said here
God.
first. It was said here first.
Well, it's not like I got a knife in my lap or anything, but the only advertising I do is you see my shirt, where you can. If John Diadmo was here, he'd give you a link for where you can buy all the cool stuff, especially if you like the Michigan Wolverines apparel on the Voice of College Football. So
I will
And
say one thing.
no MySpace either.
One thing I like about the apparel, I know I'm interrupting your outro, but they do have Michigan colors. I couldn't get it before because it was all Ohio State colors, and that can't come in my house. But now they have yellows and stuff, so we're good for that.
I think it'd be kind of ironic if they had a red Michigan Wolverines Voice of College Football shirt.
There's John on command.
Oh, he must have saw it then. Yeah, but let me say, if you want to find me, you find me here.
Spaz, I'm going to just repeat you a lot, so I'll just let you run your spiel for a second here.
Oh, I'll be here. I love doing these shows. It's great meeting all you guys. It's like I've told Ben recently. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Was to get in with a group of guys that are regular that do these kind of talk show podcasts, whatever you want to call them. And it's been a dream of mine for a long time, and I like this because you have multiple conferences, multiple players. It's a lot of fun, and we get to talk sports, and that's my favorite hobby. Um, I'm on Twitter at the Rocky Classic. Um, Facebook is Sean Bryant, my real name, and I just love sports. I love talking sports, and this is fun for me. This is a dream come true. And I'm a big Duck supporter and always have been. Go Ducks.
Okay. Someone else typed in. I was like, try to pull stuff up here. Yeah, and same with like for Spaz. I mean, I'm here obviously every Sunday on the Sunday show here after dark, unless something happens. We are hosting the after post game show for after the Oregon game every weekend this season, as well as coming up the live Tuesday Oregon weekly show with Spaz, myself, as the other Sean, and Derek. So we've got to get that kick started here in a little over a week. We got a week and a half, and so hopefully we'll see you guys there too. I know Connor is going to drop in and yell obscenities, I'm sure, during that show. Oh, see, you guys are already best friends.
I love it.
Already best friends. But besides that, you can also find me here on YouTube on my normal channel. I'll just drop it in the comment. There is a link. You can check us out if that's your type of thing. Cool. Drop us a likes, whatever.
Hey, do you have anything upcoming on your show? On your channel?
A few things are in progress, a lot of editing. That's I won't go into too much detail right now.
Okay.
I don't want to ruin it because there's another YouTuber also working on the same stuff.
Oh, okay,
so
like
kind
a
of
collab or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't want to like throw it out there too much because I don't want
You guys
something interesting. We're now we have this. Now we're all interested. We're gonna have to find out. We're gonna have to tune into your.
Let's just say we both met up. We both met back up in Paris to do a certain location together.
That's a good question, Biscuit. No, I would meet the beaver with the paw, but you know that's close.
Beaver at the. All right, this chat is. This chat's going off the rail. This chat's going off the rail right now. I think we've had enough beaver jokes tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry, Connor. I know Connor loves his beaver jokes, but. Well, once again, please, everyone, thank you, chat. Thank you, panel, as usual, because I know I'll see most of you guys every week, probably. This is what you live for. You live to spend time with me. That's about it.
So much.
I know. I'm amazing. I can't help it. Why do you think Mark hired me to do this?
Well, you're getting paid, and I'm not.
No, I'm not. I am not.
Ben,
We're getting paid, Mike.
Now everyone's like, whoa, wait. Like, no.
Oh, I get it. Mark's paying everybody but the Michigan guys. I know how it is now. I know how the game's played.
Would go.
Well, we do need to remind the chat. Mark is an Ohio State fan. For those who don't know that, I think most people in here know that by now. But
we don't hold that against him too bad.
That's.
And
well,
Mike,
I do.
you guys do your Michigan show.
Hey, John Diadamo does the Michigan show.
Oh, you guys. No, okay.
Yeah, John Diadamo usually does the Michigan show, and for post games, I my gut always says Dez and Dre, but Dez is taking some time off, so Dre's going to be doing the post game shows for Michigan.
Good
Okay.
stuff over there. Y'all check out the Michigan channel. A lot of good content being posted on there,
Yeah.
and especially with the season coming
And
up.
the Clemson channel as well. I like to watch you guys. It's
Oh, I appreciate that, Ben. Yeah, but yeah, check out all the channels. I know Mark just launched a new SEC channel, a new Big 12 channel. So make sure you guys sub those up. We're trying to get those to 1,000. Yeah, thank you
And
guys.
that's it. If you don't sub up stuff, the simplest thing you can do is always comment, leave a comment after the video, watch it through, and just hit the like button. It helps a lot. If you can share it on your socials, if you're a huge college football fan, you want to share it out, that helps out a lot. So once again, to the chat, I appreciate it. To the panel here, I appreciate it. And we will see you next week. And I'm going to leave this sweet little photo up just to piss Mark off. Have a good night, everyone.
Go Blue.